Hello everyone, this is Chuck with bKSM Media. Back here with another video doing camera editing here on the iRacing Motorsports Simulation Service. We're a few short days into some new material here, some new releases of content. And part of that includes the Kern County Raceway Park, which technically includes 4 tracks altogether. In the distance there you can see a asphalt oval, and you can't make out very well the Legends asphalt over in the center of it. Nearer to us here you can see the dirt track, which is the focus that I'm doing this camera editing set on. And in the center there you can see that is actually a mini oval that I have been exploring, and is a lot of fun to say the least. Alright, I've came here with it, and I have brought the Gen 4 Chevrolet. There's a lot of horsepower, and technically speaking this is an asphalt car, but a few of those cars have dirt setups in them to explore. If you go looking around in the iRacing cars there, you may find them. And they can be a lot of fun around these dirt tracks, and I have found that this Gen 4 Chevrolet certainly is a lot of fun for me to try to get around this track. We'll get to that soon. First, as I said, the focus here is to do some camera editing, and I'm going to start with the default camera set here, and I'm going to show you how to basically make sure you save it, which it's, you know, I like to save the original versions of all of this new content. And if anything happens, I have it to fall back on. If something changes with the default, you have an older copy. You know, it's just a general practice I like to do. Then I'm going to basically purge most of the cameras and bring it down to starting with one and going from there. And to aid you seeing this a bit, I have from the I'm using OBS Open Broadcast system to do this capturing and streaming and such that I do. And in that community they have a great overlay here that shows the keyboard inputs, or some of them, most of the pertinent ones we need here. You can see that there. Those keystrokes that I do, and that will help us, help each of us kind of convey what's going on here and get what's going on with these movements, which currently, if you look here at the bottom right here in our control panel for the replay system, I have ran some laps here, and I have the replay paused, and we will eventually get it moving a little bit to focus where the cameras need to start and end, which is very important. And there's various elements of this here that we can try to cover quickly. First being, we want to open up the camera editor. So we're going to make sure we click somewhere on the iRacing window here, make sure it's in focus if you have any other stuff open, and use Control and F12. So Control and F12 together, and there's the camera editor comes up, and it is currently set to the group edit, and here's that. Now we can click on the tab down here, the group tab, and that can drop down, or we can bring it back up. And you have your configure over here, which I won't get into all of that right now. That's a lot of personal taste, and mine is not default, let's put it that way, and it could confuse you. So let's just focus on camera and group right here, these two tabs. And if we switch to the camera tab, you can see up here we're on scenic camera 01, and that's the focus where we're at here with the scenic group. And speaking of the group, if we go back to the group tab down here, left click on it with your mouse, you'll see that we're the scenic group. You can create, delete, copy, paste, etc., etc. We want to make sure that we have the use temporary edits unchecked, and we want to make sure that the scenic group here is checked here, is scenic group. You can choose other groups if you wish, but for this right here, we're kind of keeping it rather default in that aspect, and keeping this is set to the scenic group. And you see that we have scenic 01, 02, all the way up to 08 for this series of cameras here. And I'm going to take all of these 8 through 2 out because I'm going to get rid of them and start eventually I will set a basic scenic camera here quickly, and eventually I will add to that, but for the sake of this video I would just leave one here that we can go back to if needed. Okay, so to do that, okay, hold on just a moment. I was about to not do what I always like to do. Okay, first of all, before I do any of these changes here and anything, I want to go here to load track right here and just click load track. And here are the camera files that are for this track currently. And it is the default, and it's loaded as track name. I always like to just redundantly click on default, click open, push play for a moment. You can just tap and stop it right there just to let it take focus, and that little change was made. And go back here to save this track, and I like to put here default, if I can spell, O for default original. I save that, and once again that just we can go to load track here again. And now we will see the default original one and the default O original track that I just created. And once again, if anything ever happens to the default, it changes or whatever, generally the sim will rebuild it if something tragic happens, generally speaking, but for whatever reason, if you just want to open something here, copy and paste or whatever, I always like to just kind of keep one of these there. So there, that being said, X out of that, don't want to do that. I want to save it again, and this time I'm going to rename it T23 bKSM bKey Sim Media Kern County Church. And that will be we're starting on the foundation of the bKey Sim Media camera set for this track. All right, so now that I've done that, double check we are loaded for that. Yes, we are. All right, I'm going to highlight this camera down here. Left click once on your mouse. You'll see these two buttons here, one pointing to the right, one pointing to the left. I want to highlight the one on the left, click it, and it'll go to the right. The highlight moves up. Keep doing that until all of the cameras that I want to be are moved to the right. I save often. I want to save. Yes. Click enter. That just clicks right there. All right. So to get rid of those cameras, we have to come over here, scroll here, and drag that down. I like to start at the bottom of the what I'm getting rid of the group. So click on the 08. You see the delete highlight. Keep clicking delete. Be careful because you can just be talking away and click right through everything. And those can go away. So, all right. So we got all those scenic ones out. And save it again. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you how to take this scenic. We want to click on this one here. That's the view we're on. I'm going to click the camera tab here, or the group tab, whichever. Let's go back to the camera here. Can't, that's good. There we go. This is where we'll eventually need to be anyway. Okay. Currently, this camera is set to, well, let me do the controls here first for you. Okay. On our keyboard, from this point here, W will move the camera forward as we're doing. S will move it backwards as it's doing. A will move the camera to the left. D will move it to the right. Alt A will tilt the camera to the left. Roll it. Alt D will roll it to the right. Alt W will raise the camera. Alt S will lower it. Control A will pan left. Control D will pan to the right. Control W pitches the view up. And Control S pitches it down. So those are the basic keyboard controls that allows you to generally move, raise, lower the camera position, and inherently the views. And there's the basics on doing that. You can level them out a little bit. Another important point is the open and closed brackets there. See that blue? Those pretty much, that's your field of view zoom, and when you're driving and so forth, but it also acts basically like a zoom in or out on a regular camera. Okay, which brings us to some important points here with the camera system. Then we'll look back up here to the camera edit panel. This position is fixed, which I'm going to leave it up, but you can click on it and there's a drop down. You have a blimp option, chopper, chase, online, and driving, which not every one of those options are available for all cameras, especially like the driving and on car. They're kind of locked into car cameras. But generally, we're going to be concerning ourselves with fixed or blimp occasionally. So currently this is going to be left to fixed. The aim type on this is currently at static. And relating to this, the static field of view is set down here. You can drop down here and you can get a zoom field of view. And currently I want to change this to zoom, and I want to change this to at car. And just for a moment, and what I want to do is let that camera get focused on something, and then now that I have this set to zoom over here, I can use the closed bracket to zoom all the way out, and that is as far as that will go. And you can point out here that if you come back here, if you leave this on field of view, static field of view, and if you pan as far out as it will go, you have a very odd, unflattering, elongated view. And yeah, it doesn't really, you can, easily get it looking really weird. So generally, for the moment here, when I'm trying to focus things, I'm going to manipulate it and point it where I want them to and get the camera at the distance where I want it to be sitting. I generally put this on zoom. And once again, I will zoom all the way out, which I already have. And that means that if I'm moving the camera here and I'm looking around, it will, once again, I've got it. Okay, I'm going to put it back to static now that I have that set. You can look around here. and where I'm looking around, where the camera is, that's basically where the face of the camera is. You know, we can get down here close. You know, if you're near playing bias, you realize you can cut into here. The near playing bias setting right here. You generally want to try to leave this alone. If you're working for just yourself, you can do things like this. Drop this all the way down here, and you can bring this camera right down on top of this jersey barrier. And you can sit here and look around, and it looks all nice and smooth, and you can't see through that barrier. But if you share this camera with this low, someone else's resolution, they may be cutting into it, or worse. You can inherently go too high here and see that this is what they might start seeing, and you don't notice that. But if it's set too high, you'll see that, you know, even your world is being cut away. So try to find a happy medium. This is basically default. You can get away with just kind of shortening some, but generally it's better to raise the camera back up here a little bit if you're wanting to get this close, and you know, work from there on that. And so it'll rotate around. You can just leave it here or wherever. But currently we're trying to do a scenic camera, and I'm just going to pull one back here and just get a basic view, as was already with the other Simic. So just set it like that. Actually, let me back here, because here's the big track. And actually, let's just go ahead. Oh, watch over that fence. I may need to slow it down. It's on there. Guess not. All right, so hang on, everyone. We're backing up. All right, so the stock one wasn't too bad of a view, but let's just kind of bring it back over here and get it set someplace and back it up a little bit. It's not so bad. That's kind of the original view, almost, kind of, sort of. Anyhow, all right, so with that being done, we can go ahead and just save this again, and we can move on to looking at TV1. And we'll go over here. We want to look on the group here and see how many cameras are in here. And there are 3. So let's see. 02 has TV1, 02 has focus right now. There's 01. You can double click them and go to that camera view. But if you move the video down here a little bit, it goes back to whatever has the actual view. So we're going to change all that too. So, all right, I'm going to click on this TV1 here, 02. Use the button up here on the move it to the left to be available. And it continued to TV01, move it over here. We're going to find them over here, TV02. Actually, this is something I ran into recently. I was like, why can't I not delete these? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save this. And okay, that's what I want to do. Override it, so on and so on. Okay, some of the default tracks, most of the default tracks have group sim here. Go down here, we can scale through the cameras back and forth through the camera list, or you can use the C button on your keyboard there to scroll forward through the list, or Shift C to go backward through the list. So I'm going to go up through here. I could not get the cameras to delete for some reason. When it showed up to delete, and I realized that they are part of another package here somewhere. There we go. Either TV static or the mixed here. So I'm going to, I know I'm not going to be using like the 4 through the mixed. Okay, so I'm going to go here, and what I need to do to be able to delete that camera, the TV1 cameras I wanted to, I need to go to group, and I need to make sure I'm on TV4 and delete that. Then I want to go to make sure I'm on TV static. This is the default set of cameras. I want to delete that group. Now I want to go to TV mixed, and you see there that those TV1 and 2 that I'm wanting to delete are part of this group. So that can't happen until this group is gone or they're out of it, which I'm not going to use this group this way, so I wanted to delete that group. So all of those cameras are still over here from what was being used, but I should now, oh, see, still weird. That's interesting. I'm telling you, that is, I keep running into that. And at this time, I'm not sure why. Oh, that's why. I went on the right one. Yes, you got to make sure I go back to the TV group. And now, those two cameras can be deleted. TV1, 2, delete that one. Save again. I like to save often. Okay, so now we're down to 1 in the TV2 set. And I'm going to go ahead, or TV1, 1 camera in the TV1 set. Now I'm going to move to TV2. There are 2 in it. I'm going to go ahead and take 2, move it over here. Since I've already gotten rid of those other groups, I should be able to delete it, and I can save and go to the next one. There's 2 in TV3. I want to take the second one, move it over there. There it is, highlight it, and click delete. And it's gone, or did you go? Apparently. That was weird. And save. Okay, and now that, yep, we go right to pit lane. That's what I was expecting. Okay, we won't be using the TV4s. All right, those are out, and I don't think there's any place else. Okay, here are your default standard cameras here that's going to make sure you hang on to, generally speaking. That's the blimp, the chase, chopper, the cockpit, and through to the nose camera. And everything else here can be altered. Your roll bar, this and that. The chase can be taken out altogether, I believe. But those other parts there kind of are built in. They will stay there. Those car cameras, yeah, you kind of have to work around those. Okay, so, and that's saved. All right, and we're down to, yes, pit lane 2, and there's the blimp and the chopper, and then we should start with the chase and so forth and so on. And through the car cameras, and we're back to scenic. All right, so, okay, now, I'm going to go ahead and let the car roll. Well, let's see here. First of all, I am at fixed, and I'm at aim group. That works for me. It's going to want probably some heavy distortion around here, and maybe some moderate shake. We'll see where it ends up being moved to. Okay. I want to make sure that I'm on zoom here, which it is. I'm going to zoom it all the way out. I want to raise it up here. Okay. First, you'll notice that as I start moving the camera, it starts out slow and then it starts picking up speed. It's kind of dizzying a little bit, like, Okay, so right here, the use key acceleration, uncheck that. And then you can use the key step factor here to raise or lower the speed at which it moves. You can go a little higher, or you can get it down to where we're really creeping along, make some fine tuning. Or we can speed it up and be quicker than we were with the other. But yeah, that right there is a good way to help keep things from just zipping away from you. I will slow it down a little bit. All right, so currently the car is in the pit stall. And this track has an outside pit lane, and a whole lot of that is covered up with, here's your pin entry over here. And a lot of that is covered up with divided plastic thrown in the wall. Ooh, power lines. Easy. And, you know, so sight lines for the pits are going to be exciting. So let's focus this TV1. I always try in my bKey sets to I have one single camera on ovals that allow it. And somewhere down in here should work. All right. Oops, there's a building there. You know, need to slow the key step factor down here. What I'm using to raise and lower this to get that out of the way so quickly is the space bar. All of these things here, make sure you have iRacing to the focus. But that's how I keep moving that up and down, is the space bar. And once again, you can keep those stuff up here and hit the group or camera tab here and drop those up and down. But that's how that kind of keeps vanishing and coming back so quickly. I want to slow this down. I want to slow my key step factor down because I keep backing into that building too quickly. There it is. Hello, building. I'm not sure about the crowds here yet. This is maybe a decent place to raise it up a little bit over Barney. Okay. I'm going to have, once again, only one camera in there. There's one camera in the group. This is TV1 group. And I can go ahead and uncheck this right here, which is limit shot to range, so I'm not having multiple cameras that are starting and stopping across the distance of the track. So that can be unchecked. Go ahead and save. Okay, so go ahead and let the drop this down. Yes. Go ahead and let the up to, there we go. There it is. All right, let's a couple laps here. Roll the car around, see how it looks. All right, with this drop down, the camera editing tool is still open, and you can do like live zooming, like I'll catch up here. Let's try. And you can zoom it in. There we go. I have it set pretty slow. So try to find. I like to leave, you know, like you can see most of the field, like a wider view of the camera. And I've grown less and less prone to making a bKey for the first camera. If it's set like this, it's good just to have this single camera running. And yeah, you know, just kind of like you're sitting up here kind of turning your head. So that's not so bad. When it comes by here, right here next to the mic gain, there's an auto button. There's a little bitty press it, and that sets the audio. So that should be as loud as it needs to be. Okay. Back it up here a couple of laps. All right, so save that. I think I did. And we can move on to TV2. And this here may be actually, let me see here. I'm back up a bit. I'm going to go ahead and get the key step up so it'll pick up some speed. Oops, I'm back into a wall. Okay, I'm not sure how. See, here's your pit lane and those pesky power lines. And you come all the way around behind there. Here is your turn. So I think that I'm going to go. I usually have to try to get the TV1 for the first camera to be looking down the front stretch as much as possible, and to turn 1. And this may afford me that. This just might work. Okay, I'm gonna zoom it in here. And okay, so this is where we need to worry about limit shot to range. And make sure that's clicked. So I'm going to set where this TV200 cam starts and where it ends. Where it starts following, taking footage, and where it stops and passes off to the next camera. And this is like a relay race, handing off a baton in a sense to each camera, from one camera to the other. And each of those cameras has a place where it starts here and a place where it ends here, and we want those to overlap. So we want the ending of where the camera stops to come a little further and back up a little bit and set the start of the next camera so that it comes down through here, and there, we would set the end button here for it, the end point, and then overlap, back up a little bit and set the start for the next camera. So we want a series of just overlap start and end points that will work forward and, they work forward and reverse. But so to do that, we want to set start here, click the set start with the left mouse, it'll blink, and we need to, you can hold the increment button here, or you can let it push here and let it rewind itself. I'm gonna let that rewind itself for a moment. See where I think I want to start the view of that camera. Let's back it right about there. How about that? Just as we start seeing this fence over here, so let's set that start. Being this is the only camera out now, that'll all we need to do. We need to click the set end, it'll blink, and let the footage roll forward. Use the button here to set the volume real quick. That worked. And let's stop it right about there. All right, so there's our end point. Go ahead and save. Always good. Okay, now, if you look on the tab, click the groove tab here, you'll see that we only have one camera. So we need to come back, click the camera tab, come over here to the cameras. We're on Cam TV 200, and we're going to come down here to the bottom in your camera edit settings. Right below it here, we're going to copy and paste. And I always like to just immediately save. Power could go out. Cat could attack the cables. You never know. Okay, we now see that we have Cam TV 201. And if we come here, double click 00 and double click 01, you see that nothing changed. They both have the exact same view because we copied the camera. Okay. So we need to double click on 2 again. Or excuse me, 01. They can get mixed up real easy. You got to be careful which one you're messing with here. So yes, we want to mess with 01. Okay, come back here and go ahead and click on the set start. And I like to use the slow increment here and go just a few moments backwards. And click start. Go ahead and click the set end. And then I like to go ahead and zoom it back out with the closed bracket key. Use the A to rotate around, and you'll notice here that if we have focus on the car, It'll stay focused. We can make a big old circle around the world. Or if you're, you know, we have the camera closer to the car, it'll sit here and just zoom all around right here. So if you have it set to act group or act car, it will stay focused on that, and you can move it around and it will stay right there. If you have it set up here in the drop down for static and you move the camera, it will just go statically in whichever direction. Once again, to get back, you can click on Act Car, move the video a little bit, and then use the W to bring you right back to hello. There we go. Okay, so we were going to set this camera up, and we need to set the end. So, and again, this is a pit light. No, this pit light area. It is, isn't it? Yeah, no, it's not. Cool. All right, so nope, not on this side. So we don't have to be concerned with that as much. We can just find a, try to find a decent place to do it. Put this, there are times when I like to go down here and be in this general vicinity with the second camera on TV2, and this track will afford that, I think. Let's see. All right, so I want to do the end point. I'm just check, make sure that's I like this. So TV1, it'll take somewhere about right there. So let's set in there, go to group, double click on 0, 0, back to the camera tab, click hit set start, and back it up just a little bit to make sure we overlap on that other camera. Okay. Save. If all went well, we should have two cameras that change and allow it to do whatever. I like to have them zoomed in better. That was a little much. Would have been much. Not so bad. Three-car view. Eventually, I'm sure that I'm going to add some bKey cameras to that hopefully will cover the hit lane too if needed, that you can switch back and forth, but we'll get to that eventually. Okay, so I'm going to move on to TV3, and usually with TV3, I use it for much closer view, and I'm not sure yet how to go about doing that here. You know, I could go maybe right. No. There's the pit pass exit. Now, maybe. Not a bad spot, maybe. Alright, is it zoomed out? Yes, it is. I go around top of that blue pole there. I don't know if it'll be a decent view for where the car will be though. And once again, I'm pretty sure I'll have a bKey camera that will follow the car if it's on pit lane better. That's not so bad. Alright, this is at the car or at the... I'll put it at the car. There you can do, when it comes over here to the side, I have it zoomed right now. I have it zoomed in, and right about here, if you look at the move it to static here, it can get really simple. So you can bring it back out on this side of the track. It'll be closer, and you can let it go all the way over there, kind of like the reverse punch right there. But as this one comes around, it'll get closer and still be kind of zoomed in. There's an effect you can do. Kind of looks like a first-person thing. Personally, on this one, I think I was liking the zoom better. Yeah, I'm liking that better. Drop it down a little bit. And this will get the pit lane exit too, pretty heavily. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and save this one. There it is. Alright, so I'm going to click one of the laps. You can reset the car to the start finish line easily by, advancing a lap or moving the lap back. It sets it back to wherever and starts that lap. So if you want to set it to basically at the start finish line, you can do that pretty easily with just doing that. And what is the pit lane looking like? Yeah, I'm going to have some fun experimentation with this pit thing, I do believe, because usually I use the pit lane 1 near the entry, and pit lane 2 at the exit, and your entry is over here, right at the entry around near turn 1. So there's where that is. All right, I'm gonna back got the acceleration down because that's getting a little. That's better. Okay. All right. Yeah. Here's your pit entrance. And we're trying to do a pit camera. So maybe. And here's all the way around through here. Somewhere over there is pit lane. So here's your entry though. It may just be good to it's an odd angle. That is. Let's try that. Let's just go ahead and try that. Okay. Save that there and there. Won't do the mic thing yet because there's wait for footage where the car is coming by. And I expect that this that this set will expand from this soon because yeah, this is going to be an interesting pit lane to try to keep coverage on. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the second pit lane 2 there. And once again, I like to use it for the exit. All right, speed it back up, the acceleration. Here. Here. And it would be really cool. All right, I think I'll set it over here. And sometimes in instances like this, it's better to just go ahead and set the camera up to where it's near somewhere and try to aim it. I don't know if it's going to work or not, though. Something get the scoreboard. I don't know if it's ever going to be hooked up or not at some point. I guess it might, but Oop, there we go. There's what happens if you're on field of view and zoom it out too far. All right, so I reset that to zoom there. And move back to static. Maybe just come over this way and aim at the exit and watch all the other cars go by too and just let it be that. That's interesting. I said hopefully we can get some signage there working with the scoreboard. That would be good. You could go by the scoreboard thing for a moment in the pit lane camera and see where your favorite driver is at, as long as it's in the top 5. Okay. So once again, I'd say that there's going to be some exploration as to how to get that covered better. Save that. Most of what I've been doing here with the blimp cameras, this is a blimp camera, and it behaves differently when you push things. It does weird stuff, and I always like to start these when I'm redoing one by making it a fixed camera. Going up here, make sure it's aimed at the group, setting this to zoom, and using your closed bracket key to zoom out, and we're way up in the air like a blimp would be. So what I'm going to do is use the Alt-S combination to lower it back down to the planet just a little bit, make it more of a little drony looking acting little thing, hopefully. You keep it on zoom for the moment and keep this on group. And now what I want to do after I save, I think I did, but you can never be too sure. You can never save enough. We want to go to here, go ahead and set it back to blimp. And then right here, you have your radius. See where, 200 meters or wherever, whatever it's using here, all around in a circle. So to bring it back to the track there a little better, slide that back over to 1, and we're pretty much just point blank on where I left it. Let's start out with a radius of 16 feet. And you can get the velocity here. Plus velocity goes one direction, minus velocity goes the other direction. I can't ever remember which one is clockwise or counterclockwise. One is the other is the other. And you can set this up here to nauseating, and you can, make yourself very sick. So I've been told. But you can slow it down to a creep also. So I'm going to start out here just so that I can see the distance that the camera is traveling. You'll see it warble about here as the car. Okay, let's speed it up a little bit. There's the radius that the camera is moving. So let's take it up to 40. Have a little battery. It's still basically inside the track. General idea of where it's traveling. All right, when you get those moments, when you get close with these, it's always nice to do your automatic volume button. If you get a chance, there you go. It helps, because that can get overpowering quickly to get in their car. Okay, let's go ahead and save that. Change so far. Okay, let's slow it back down. Slow it back down. See how that goes. Do I want it any lower? Try to watch out for any areas that cuts these guys' heads off or hits a light pole. Now you can do a bKey for this, or do an alternate. You can run it the other direction. Let's see how that looks. Let's see what it looks like when we run the velocity in the other. Set it about, there's 13. The other direction. It's the same camera, but just the velocity. Sounds really weird. Negative velocity. Sounds counterintuitive to a racing car, huh? So yeah, whichever one you kind of prefer, you can go on with it. And I almost think it probably needs to slow it down. Speaking of close passes, there's a great close pass to back it up and do the auto button here and make the volume. There you go. That's all right. Save that. You get one of those, save it. And that kind of helps keep, from camera to camera from blowing your speakers out, which is kind of hard to do with this. Okay. So there is the one blimp. And I'm sure that may have a bKey companion or another. And then here's your chopper camera. I don't really do much with it. It likes to be generally left alone. And I found there's people that really like the chopper camera for certain things. They like it left alone too. So I'll try to leave that one alone. Then at that point, I try to add whatever other cameras okay, that's the chase here. Once you get past the chase cameras, I like to put back here between the chase cameras and the nose camera, because you can't go in between the nose camera to the cockpit camera of the car cameras. You have to be either before the nose camera or after the cockpit. You can't place them in between here. So this is kind of your threshold point, like your last camera in the roll. With the bKey camera set up, camera number 1 is the nose camera. And to basically achieve that, you can't see this keystroke on the overlay here, but the basic keystroke is on your number pad, the asterisk or the star. You can tap it twice and enter the camera number, which I'm going to go to the scenic camera. Or can I? There we go. Okay, that was asterisk 10 and enter. So if I want to go back to the nose camera, I'm going to put in asterisk 1, enter. And there we are back to the nose camera. And consequently, the gearbox will be 2, roll bar 3, which is normally left suspension. It's a custom set. So for me, the roll bar is 4, etc., etc. So this right here is to cut off with the rear chase as far as the TV cameras that you can move up and down in the grid and go back and forth with. This is where I like to add groups, to where if I'm going to add something like anything like the fixed camera stuff, anything like a feed, any other photo camera, any kind of boutique or weird kind of framing stuff, any additional stuff I like to try to add after this point here behind the rear chase. Now, some of the other bKey camera sets out there hasn't followed that through the years, but I'm trying to make it a little more user friendly, I guess, and consistent from set to set in the future. So with that in mind, how you would create something, like pick a camera here. It's okay. This is the we're on the rear chase. Go to group, and you can click create, and you see the new one up here. I'm going to set up a fixed cam 1 feed, and I'm going to, you can just enter whichever, click save track down here as we do. Okay. Now that group that I just created has the camera from the chase group that I was on. So what I need to do is which I can change it. It's okay. Usually it saves you a few steps to do this with like a TV camera of one that's already a TV camera setup type, but it's okay. We can change this to here. But what I do need to do is to go back here to the camera tab, go back down here to copy that camera and paste. Then I need to go back to the group, highlight the original one, move it over here to the left, save the track. Okay, so now that chase cam, the original rear chase cam is back over here on the available list. It's not in this group anymore. It's back where it's normally be, and everything's good. So with this camera here though, since I used a rear chase camera, first of all, I want to change it to the cam fixed 1. And we're going to go here to the position type again, and we're going to take it back to fixed. There we go. So that camera is technically on this right there with the car, but it's way over there. So I want to go over here, set this to zoom, use my closed bracket to zoom it out. And right now I'm going to let the replay run a moment. And I'm going to use, since we're set to aim at car here, the aim type is that car, I'm going to use the W button to move it over to that car. Okay. And I'm thinking of the first fix one that I want to do. It's going to be up here above Barney the Flagman spot. Okay, at this point, I want to take this to static. Bring the camera over here a little bit, top of the fence. Bring it down here so. We zoom it in just a little. Now, I will have to vet most of these views to a 3 screen, which is normally what I use. And this could, with the 3 screen, cut in to this fencing here for people who have a wider resolution than this. So until then, I'm going to drop the near plane bias down just a little. We'll set this to heavy. and we'll set the shake to all the way up. And there is no shot range set. We'll bring this to static. We're going to set the aim to static. And set this to save. Now we have just a fixed camera feed there that you can use when going to commercial or just chatting, or just you like to view. You know, big fan of Barney the Flagman, and you just click off laps. Now, inside of this group, you can have, you know, like you can add all kind of fixes or whatever. But a lot of times I'll do this. I'll start what is called a start setup, and they're focused on the start of the race and so forth, and keeping track of the field. Or this right here will most likely become my finish camera, which is just literally meant for that. Once the checker flag is getting ready to fly, put this view on, and you can watch the first one come around, and you can watch the whole field come around, and yeah, see the first guy that came across the line and the last guy that came across the line. And it was everybody's out here trying, right? So yeah, that's not a bad look. I could do with that. All right, so in a nutshell, that's the start base setup of the next bKey Sim Media bKey camera sets, oval camera sets, that I'm going to be getting in play here to the public soon. I've already started working on one for the mini dirt, got some laps in on that with a replay, and there is the 2 asphalt tracks to tackle, and there is a full reworking of 3, I think, courses from the Zandvoort Circuit Zandvoort tracks, and the Grand Prix and the National, and I can't remember how to say the other one, that little small oval looking one. It's amazing. But yeah, there's that to be done. There's a host of cars to get cameras done for. A lot of experimenting to play with. I've already done one for the Ferrari 296 GT3 car that we got. You can see the video out there here on the YouTube channel, and share it around social media a little bit. I did a camera set for that car. There will be more like that coming into play. And if you've been watching, I appreciate it. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, and keep an eye out for more. But yeah, this is going to be a fun track, and yeah, I'm quite excited with these new dirt tracks that are added into this, because what a treat this. And I'll tell you already, I've been running some laps in this little oval here, and it's just nuts. I've been running, we got a new the NASCAR Legends 1987 cars, got a 4th added, finally got the Pontiac Grand Prix, and I took it to the I took it to the mini oval, and I had a blast with it. I really did. And it's the same thing about this Gen 4 here at this track here. It's just a blast. And with that in mind, I could back it up here, and I think my top lap there was a 17.2. That's not so bad. But yeah, it is. It's an adventure. It is, and I'm having a blast with it already. But yeah, we've been doing the camera set here. Let's see how it looks. How about that? Let's let it get take some laps. Drop the overlay down out of the way, and let's see how it looks and sounds.